Welcome back to Coffee Nick's Movie Picks, a bold blend of coffee and movie review podcasting. My name is Nick Delaney, and I am your show host, coffee and movie reviewer, and the guy who abracadabra aba una na, ugaga. In this episode, I'm joined by friend of the pod and returning guest Reese to discuss his favorite movie of all time, Nope, directed by Jordan Peele. We'll be showcasing this spectacle over various drinks and food items from Big Bear Cafe in Washington, D.C. Everyone, please take a seat, stay a while, and let's talk movies over some coffee. Today's guest is an educator in the fine arts, a talented musician, a loyal Letterboxd user, an AMC A-list member, a dear friend of the podcast, and pretty much the show's executive producer. Everyone, please welcome Reese Tunstall.
Too kind.
Oh, I am so happy to have you back on the show. It's been a while.
It has. Last was Maxine.
The triple feature.
The triple X feature. Quite literally triple X.
Triple X, yeah, it was triple X indeed. Yeah. How have you been?
I've been good. Yeah. Teaching, musicking, watching movies as much as I can. Although we were talking about this yesterday. My Letterboxd top 4 was sparse.
It's like a desert right now.
It was.
Which is kind of crazy because we saw, which we'll talk about this in a second, I'm sure. We watched Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me together about 2 months ago. And that is your third most recent, or I guess now fourth.
It is. It is technically still in my top 4, which is brutal to see. I mean, it's great to see it in the top recent 4, but yeah, like especially with Oscars. Last year, I was able to watch all 10 of the nominated, but like I didn't get to see much.
Yeah, it's so sad, but we're watching a lot of movies this weekend. You're visiting DC currently, so we're having a very movie time.
The big city.
I took
the train all the way.
So last night we watched Opus, the new A24 movie.
Yeah.
We did go to see that.
We saw it.
I'm not going to make an episode about that because I was so tuned out and not having it.
Guys, go watch Midsommar. Go watch The Menu. Hey, go watch The Menu.
Go watch The Menu.
Heck, even go watch Glass Onion.
Yeah.
I mean, go watch this. Go watch Nope. That's really what you should go watch. Opus, you'll be all right.
If you've seen those first 3 movies you just listed, you've pretty much seen Opus. And then today we are going to see Wild at Heart.
Yeah, rest in peace, David.
Rest in peace, David Lynch.
Remembering David Lynch.
Yes. So I'm very excited to see that on the big screen and for you to see that for the first time ever. We have T-minus 2 hours until we go to that, but lots of exciting things. It's a movie weekend. For sure. Well, again, I'm so happy to have you on the show. Thank you for joining me. It's been long overdue to have you back. Let's get right into it because we have a lot to cover today. So this next segment, this is new since the last time you were on the show, but this is the coffee table. And I think this was even your recommendation. You are the producer after all.
It was. I don't know. I was just like, yo, you should, because you were kind of already doing this with guests, at least with me. But I shared with you that app. Not sponsored, but Shelf, which is like a cool concept. It's kind of like Letterboxd, but with all forms of media. And you have like a top 6 of what's currently on your shelf.
Yeah, but it could be like a book, a record, a movie, a show.
Podcast.
Or podcast. Put my podcast on it.
You could. I was like, you should have coffee table. What's on your coffee table?
And me, as a communication major, when I was taking my like communication and media, very like intro courses, we of course like go through the history of like major forms of communication and everything. And I luckily had a professor who her interest in like the different mediums we have was magazines. And she's like, unfortunately, that's such a hard interest to have these days. But she was like, but magazines used to be so important to communicating who you were to people visiting your house. You used to have these certain issues laid out on your coffee table, sort of in a magazine spread. and that would encompass kind of like your interests. So when people came over and you were socializing in the living room, you would have like these interests spread out, and they were good talking points. So you mentioned that, and it reminded me of kind of like the history of like magazines on a coffee table. And I was like, well, coffee? I know about that. So it just fit right into the show very well. And I really like this segment. But for those of you just joining, this is a segment reserved for the show's special guests to talk about the media they are currently caught up in. So, Reese, music, TV shows, movies, video games, podcasts, what are you engaging with?
The big three
Mm-hmm.
are Twin Peaks,
Mm.
specifically Twin Peaks: The Return,
Okay.
and shoot, maybe that's it. As I was saying earlier, I have not been able to partake in a whole lot of media, especially with my new work schedule and whatnot. But
Been a busy guy.
yeah, Severance. I still catch Severance every week.
Yeah.
That's always good. Good time. I'm excited, Nick, for you to watch season 2 in its full, which honestly I think was probably the move, because that's how I watched season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And say whatever you will about binge culture, but when it's a good show like Severance,
Yeah.
it is fun to watch back to back.
And I'm not much of a binger when it comes to shows, so I think I'll be all right either way. Like, I can maybe watch 2 episodes max, and I'm like, okay, time for like a mental break. I'm not really the type of person to like, I don't know, be cooking meals and like still have the show going. Like, I'm not into it, you know.
Yeah.
I definitely want it on the forefront. But those are 2 very good things to have on your coffee table. Our previous guest, Amaya, also had Severance on her coffee table.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me about Twin Peaks. We don't talk about Twin Peaks much on this show.
Peaks. You don't? Do your listeners know what Twin Peaks is?
I don't know if they do. I definitely do not mention Twin Peaks every episode, right? No.
You might have mentioned it, like, I mean, obviously you did the Twin Peaks movie.
Oh, I forgot about that.
But other than that, I don't think.
I forgot they made a movie about that.
And you did the whole, like, that guy that made Twin Peaks, his doc.
What's his name?
David Lynch.
David Lunch. So tell me, this is your first go through of Twin Peaks.
It is.
After me threatening you with your life to watch the show.
With multiple shows.
Yes.
I'm working one by one.
Yes,
getting
but
through my
like,
Nick watch list.
If there's anything, I beg of you, watch Twin Peaks. So after you folded under the threats, you've been slowly but surely watching that, but you're gaining some momentum now in the return. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think we should back up. Last time I was on the show, I was in the shallow end of Twin Peaks. I like 4 episodes into the original series. But I think it was a weekend that I sat down and I started trying to watch multiple episodes. And that first season, it's a great time. I definitely was like being like, okay, now I have an urge to like keep watching this and whatnot. And it was great. And then I got to episode 7 of season 2, and it was good. And then I got past that, and I think I texted you, and I was like, "This is a slog. This is brutal."
Are you telling me you don't care about who the father of Lucy's baby is?
No.
What?
I think you might have been over when we first saw Dick Tremaine.
Maybe.
I think so. Maybe something like that. Oof. Yeah, but I got through it. I watched it. I didn't do any kind of cuts or anything. No jumps.
Yeah.
I just watched every episode and pushed through. And there's some gold. There's some gold throughout.
Yeah, there is.
Too.
Even though it gets messy, I kind of love like the moments that aren't very planned out well. For example, like one kind of major character dies in a very abrupt way and gets trapped in a drawer knob, which I won't spoil anything. I won't say who that character is, but that's like one of my favorite moments from the show. Even though like that moment very much like conflicts with like where the kind of the momentum of the show and where it was going. And also that's not addressed later. I just love that that happened. Like that's such a memorable moment of the show for me. So like I wouldn't trade it in. I really enjoy Twin Peaks 2.0. So yeah.
Yeah, and it was a while since I've watched a network television show.
Yeah.
I think now in the age of streaming and everything, it just reminds me of, and I say this in full compliment, my CW days
Mm.
of watching Arrow and The Flash and just
Yes.
seeing like really how where are they going with this, you
Yeah.
know? And again, I mean like that's a full compliment. Um, but exactly, season 2 goes down some weird paths and then just has storylines that are just like, okay,
Yeah.
we went there.
And you, like I mentioned earlier, I was over. I kind of like timed it perfectly where I went over and I think we watched the last episode of season 2 together.
So I knew you were coming down
Uh huh.
to my place, and it was like the mission for me. Like
Yeah.
I gotta finish so that we can watch Fire Walk with Me.
Yes.
And I didn't quite finish. I still had the final episode left, but that was fun to watch together.
Yeah, that's a
That was great
great
to watch together.
episode. I mean, the last few of season 2 are like gold,
Oh,
I think.
I loved probably the last
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
episodes of season 2. Like once it got into that kind of unit, that's a teacher way of putting it. Gosh darn it. Uh,
I think the last arc.
last arc.
Like the
Thank
the
you.
Twin Peaks arc.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Miss Twin Peaks. I love this massive show with like this celestial horror ends with a beauty pageant.
Ends with the right, and like I will admit, I was kind of like curious and would scroll Peacock, not Peacock Plus, Paramount Plus towards the end just to read the little synopsis, and I was like, Miss Twin Peaks, what the heck?
Yeah.
Where are we going? But we finished it.
We did.
We
did.
finished the original series and we watched Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me.
And what were your thoughts on that?
God damn. Insane. Insane. I will admit, that first act, I think, is really odd. Really odd. And you had told me before that this film was booed at Cannes.
Yeah.
And I think after watching that first act, I was like, yeah, I can see why this is booed.
Yeah.
But once we get to the second act and we get to Twin Peaks, my goodness, Cheryl Lee,
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah, I think that was our takeaway from watching it was like I mean, one of the greatest performances of all time. And we kind of like made fun of the scenes with James where we're like, okay, Cheryl Lee is acting in circles around
Yes.
James Marshall.
Yes, she does.
And,
then again, I will say Firewalk with Me is James Marshall's best performance yet.
Yes.
Which is something at least.
Yeah, well, will we see more of him in the return? That's the question.
Oh?
Yeah.
Old man James.
James, so cool.
He was always cool. He was always cool, Nick.
Yeah.
But
so,
gosh, Sarah Lee. Oh my gosh. Just for me, that's what makes that film fantastic.
Yeah.
And stellar is just her performance and her being a quote nobody, just a Pacific Northwest native that gets picked to play the prom queen and then gives the performance of a lifetime. I must have said horror performance, but like it's more than that.
Yeah.
It is spectacular. Her and the actor who plays her father.
Yes, Ray Wise.
Ray Wise, I think just it is their film.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely my takeaway from watching it with you, is just like the power of the performances in that film. and like the gravitas of like their performances. Yeah. But now you're on the return, and you're
Yeah.
4 episodes in.
I am. I'm eating away at it sparingly.
Yeah,
I'm taking my time with it. I'm
that's what you
enjoying
have
it.
to do.
I'm also a huge fan of The Detective and the Log Lady.
Yes.
Also, another EP moment. I definitely recommended that show to you.
Yes, you
Yes,
did. Because Evolution of Horror, I always like had my finger on the pulse
you
of what
did.
Evolution of Horror was up to.
Hmm.
And I saw there was a Twin Peaks podcast,
And I
and
hadn't even touched Twin Peaks at that time
yeah,
that he announced the podcast. I didn't even really know what Log Lady meant or Detective
yeah.
quite meant. And I think I sent it to you and you were like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it like shook my world. But the thing is, I didn't listen to it for quite a while.
Hmm.
But I love that I didn't, because that gave me like a glamorous 3 weeks where I listened to like 30 hours worth of the show,
Oh,
and it just like became my life for a little bit. And I got to like relive the show through like discussion format. It was just so fun. So yeah, we've been following, that's on both of our coffee tables, is
mhm.
Detective and the Log Lady.
Yeah.
uh
But I'm watching it with them.
yes.
I'm taking it week by week, an episode a week, and I gotta watch episode 5 because they're gonna drop their episode 5 discussion I think
Yeah,
Monday.
on
So
Monday. I don't know when this
that's
episode
up
will come
there.
out that we're recording, but that's where we are right now. But yeah, Twin Peaks: The Return. I'm also watching it with them, and it's a lot of fun. And I kind of like did my version of binge watching it, where I'd watch like 2 or 3 episodes at a time, and I finished it in like a few weeks, I
Hmm.
think. Like maybe three weeks I watched the whole thing. So this is a very different experience, and I really like taking it slower, because it's a very heavy show. But cool. Thank you for sharing your coffee table with us. You have a nice Nick approved spread of magazines. All right. Our next segment is Now Brewing, and this is our luxury coffee discussion and review segment. This is the first time in the show's history that we are reviewing a place that has already been featured on the show. So I'd like to preface this by saying that that's okay. And I hope to go back to many of the places I've reviewed before, obviously, because there are so many different things on the menu to try at these places. So we are going back to Big Bear Cafe. Reese, what did you get?
I just got a good old coffee, milk, and chocolate
Mm,
concoction.
yeah.
I was telling you, Nick, that your previous episode inspired me to try cold brew coffee, to venture out,
Yeah.
and it's a work in progress for me. My taste buds are acclimating.
It'll get there. Soon cold brew will just be like your
Hmm.
go-to.
I
Um,
hope so.
yeah, and I
I
really
do hope
like it
so.
because it's like 0 calories and it's very refreshing. But you still like, every cold brew tastes different. But mocha, that's a good go-to to have. I got a honey oat iced latte, which was, I mean, I'll save that for later. And then to eat, I got an everything bagel with cream cheese.
I should have gotten that. That looked good.
It was good. So let's start with the food. My everything bagel with cream cheese was really good, and it had a lot of everything, seasoning or whatever you call it. There was a lot of everything on the everything bagel. It was very chewy. It was a little hard.
Oh.
And I think I like my bagel like a little bit easier to tear away at with my teeth. But
Mm.
I do love, many coffee places do this, and I do love when they put like about 10 pounds of cream cheese on it.
A
Like,
lot.
I want to be smothered in cream cheese. I want to look like that baby covered in peanut butter in that one vine. I want that with cream cheese if I order a bagel. And if I'm paying, uh, Big Bear Cafe, I love you guys, but if I'm paying $1.50 extra for cream cheese, give me the cream cheese.
Hmm.
Yes. What about your food? How did you like it?
Well, I had the blueberry muffin. It
Mm.
was great. It had like quite literally was on the top covered in sugar crystals,
Mm.
which was very nice. And then I wanted to try that bacon and cheddar scone.
Yeah.
I tried it.
Didn't go so well?
No, no thanks.
Oh.
I think it was just too cheesy, I think, for my morning taste buds.
A little too savory, maybe?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I see.
But it was interesting they had it.
Yeah, I've had a
Mhm.
bacon and cheddar scone before, and they're really good, but
I think I should have had it warmed if they
mm,
do that.
maybe I've gotten pastries there before, and I don't know if they warm. I've never had someone offer to warm it, so I don't know if
Mhm.
that's something they do or not. Um,
Hmm.
okay, and then your mocha, how is that?
Classic. Yeah,
Classic.
it was very good.
Yeah,
Um, very nice.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
That's good. My honey latte was really good. I think out of all the drinks I've gotten there, I always go there to get like black coffee, which I'll review on here one day. I think I've gotten like a lavender latte there. I've gotten that campfire latte there, which has been on this podcast before. But this honey oat latte is by far my favorite drink I've gotten there. And I think it's just a seasonal flavor, but it is perfect for the springtime. I think that honey should go simultaneously with like spring, especially because if it's local honey, I've heard that it actually helps avoid allergies. If you
Interesting.
and this is like one of my parents' like home remedies, um, which like if you have like a tablespoon of or just a spoonful of local honey every day, you avoid allergies.
Huh.
Like it makes you immune to pollen. Um, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not a doctor, but um, yeah,
I
that would
could.
be nice.
Yeah, I guess with like local pollen, you've accumulated to. That's a really interesting thing.
Yeah, they have great espresso though. Their iced lattes are incredibly good at Big Bear. So I give the honey oat latte the Nick pick. Unfortunately, I think I'm gonna give the everything bagel with cream cheese a Nick mix.
Mm.
It's a little too chewy, a little too tough. What about you? What are the ratings?
Uh, the bacon cheddar scone, not for me. I don't even think I finished it. So
Um,
hashtag, or I'm gonna label that as tag that as what didn't finish. DF did not finish. Um, the blueberry muffin, definitely definitely give it a 3.5, 3.5 star.
okay,
And the latte, just solid. I'll just give it a heart.
a heart.
You know,
There we
like
go.
letterbox ratings. You know.
I love your abs. Oh, those are yeah, letterbox. I guess so.
Yeah.
I was gonna say they're like just abstract symbols. Like I give this one three thumbs up, and the second one gets two smiley face emojis.
So I actually, this is a quite side tangent, but
uh,
I had to do a like a survey with the students I student taught at
mhm.
the elementary school. It was like a post me student teaching survey with them, and having to put it like in pretty low rigor format for them.
Yeah.
I had to do stuff like that, where it's like use thumbs up to rate this, or like with emojis, how would you describe Mr.
How many
Toadstool?
skibbity toilets would you give?
Well, hey now. I mean, if that gives me data, then fair enough.
I mean, they'll be all over that, I'm sure.
Yep, yep. One of them, a handful of them, I got a nice goodbye card, which was really nice. But a handful of them put like from the Sigma Boys,
Oh
and
God.
eh, I get it.
We all
I
got
like
our
brain rot.
we all got our brain rot. We
Yep.
all got
We
it.
got, hey, you and I got our brain
We
rot.
certainly do. We
Mhm.
certainly do. And overall, what were your thoughts on like the cafe itself and the atmosphere?
Great service.
Yeah,
Great staff. The staff that
me
was
too.
working there today was super awesome. It was busy, but also it's a busy weekend
It
here
is.
in DC.
There is like a half marathon happening like a few blocks over. So that might have been why. And then just on the weekends, Big Bear
Yeah,
is always like
yeah.
crazy busy.
Weekend brunch.
Yeah.
But the upstairs was great. We
Yeah.
took our food and drink upstairs. Very cozy, very friendly. It felt like upstairs. Um, Good service. A little pricey, but I'd rather pay a little more to a uh, local restaurant or local cafe than they who shall not be named.
Yes, yes. The coffee shop we don't name on this show, but yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay. Now, our next segment is the coffee thought. This is an outlet dedicated to voice our many incoherent thoughts over a lovely cup of coffee. Reese, what's on your mind today? What are we thinking?
I finally got to go back to the movies. We went back to the movies yesterday.
We went back.
I get to come
to the movies.
To see your local AMC.
That I don't go to.
That you don't go to, but that's okay. AMC. It was great. It was, well, was it great? I kind of just said that, but Nick, we've had bad luck.
We have
had bad luck recently.
Yeah.
At least last night. And I'll say, going into Opus, like I didn't have really any hopes, but I was gonna be okay. It wasn't like a film that I was very much anticipating.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we get the people that are entering our auditorium, I was like, you know what? I think I even said it to you. I was like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here come the clowns.
Yeah.
Here you go. Quite literally bring in the clowns.
Clown Town.
What is going on with people not knowing where the heck they're sitting?
I don't know. And like, to pick up the story, these people come in, not to be mean, acting like they have not been in a movie theater in the past 10 years. And that's okay. Like, welcome back. So glad you're back supporting theaters in the area. But like, when it's like, what auditorium is this? And it's wait, row 1F F6, you're in our seat. It's like,
I think AMC, and you're the one that we went to is very much like the one in my hometown, are very accessible. Very like big numbers, big letters on the floors.
There's lights on the numbered seats, I think.
Numbered seats, yeah. And so for people to be like, what auditorium is this? I'm like, really?
That's the thing that gets me. It's when they came in asking like, what auditorium is this? Like, I'm not using that voice for any particular reason. That's just me being extra. But like, okay, so how did we make it this far?
Yeah, because the ticket clerk or ticket checker is like, go this way.
Yeah.
Number one, your ticket says number one. I mean, we were in number one last night, but it is very odd that people are just kind of gleefully walking through AMC, Regal to just whatever.
I mean, they must have like the Nicole Kidman effect where it's like they just wistfully walk through this modern AMC and just walk into a theater that's showing like Jurassic Park, Wonder Woman, and Creed. Yes. It's just showing everything they want to see.
Yes.
But no, baby, you're just watching terrible movie from A24 Opus.
Yeah, you're just watching whatevs.
Like, Novocaine is down the street. Down the hallway. Maybe that's what you were looking for.
Maybe that's what we should have seen yesterday.
I think we should have seen. I think I was like, no, I don't want to see the normie movie. I want to see like, something cool.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna see something scary.
Yeah,
but we didn't get either of that.
No, we just got a bad movie. I think we just should have seen Novocaine, I guess, or I don't know how Sonic 3.
Still would have gotten Amber Mid Thunder.
Yeah, we would have been
Girl of the Month.
Yes, yeah. So, it's kind of like when you go into an office building. The office is, let's say, office 628. And you're like, okay. It's not like, what floor do let's go to floor 4 and see which office is on floor 4. Usually, the first, or like at a hotel, if your room is 1103. Okay, I'm going to look on floor 8.
That's literally what these people are doing.
That's what this is and it's concerning. This is the rationale. These are the voting members of the United States.
Some of these people might be in Congress.
I mean, we are in Diva City after all. in Georgetown, nonetheless. We got a lot of members out there. This is the mindset that some of these people have. These are the people that are clicking floor 8 when their hotel room number is 1103.
Yeah.
It's
And this isn't the only time this has happened.
yes,
Previously, about what, 2 or 3 months ago,
3, yeah.
we met up in like a midpoint city
Yes.
to see finally Robert Eggers' Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. Unfortunately, we had to go to a Regal, which, if you've listened to previous episodes I've been on, we saw Kinds of Kindness at a Regal.
We did.
Which was brutal. And so already going back to a Regal, I was worried. I was worried.
Yeah.
And we get to this Regal, we sit down, and it's like a packed theater. I mean, I think it might have been opening weekend, maybe the second weekend.
I think it was the 27th. So it was like 2 days after it came out, after Christmas.
Christmas weekend,
Yeah.
quite literally.
Yeah.
And we get all the way to the brand new Regal ad. I think I kind of nudged you and I was like, yo, it's the new like Regal response to Nicole Kidman. But it wasn't like the quote one that's atrocious.
Oh.
It was a new one, but we didn't get to watch it because this dude and his like companion or whoever he was with come in and shimmy down our row and look to us and say, "You're in our seats."
Never say that to me. I'm sorry. Never say that to me.
Same.
I know for a fact that where I'm sitting is my seat.
Yes.
And I'm the type of person, I'll book a seat right next to you because Alamo, you can't leave spaces in between the seats. You have to sit up against someone. And I'll like sit down and they'll move over because they don't want to be sitting next to like I'm going to sit in my seat. If that makes you uncomfortable, that's too bad. Like I'm sitting in the seat I reserved. So yeah. Sorry, side tangent. Never say that to me.
No.
I get so pissed off when someone says that.
Yeah, I'm in my seat. I'm in my seat too. I know where I am. And so I think you and I look at him and we're like, huh? And he's like, yeah, F7. And I look up at him and I'm like, this is G. And he's like, oh, my bad. And then all of a sudden, like a laugh track goes off. The whole theater, the spotlight was on us, and we were the bit.
Lynchian. It was truly Lynchian. I know
that was really scary.
It gets tossed around a lot, but it was like Inland Empire, like, am I being recorded? Like, am I on an episode of Pranked or something?
Yes.
Like,
so then this buffoon climbs in front of the row in front of us.
Because the way this auditorium is you can only go into the seating from one direction.
Right, because the other is like, there's like a hard wall.
On one side of the seats, yeah.
A smaller auditorium.
Yeah.
Mind you, while all of this is happening, it's the opening stylized production company kind of thing for Nosferatu. Like, Nosferatu has started.
Yes.
The score is going. It's setting the tone for the film. Something that I know you and I cherish.
Because this is when we're doing our trip setting. Not that we're on drugs, but kind of, it's like we are setting our minds to get ready to receive this movie.
And I love a stylized opening. And so, but no, it really ticked me off. I'm sure it ticked you off too.
Yeah.
And he's like hurdling these chairs, nacho tray and icy in hand, and then he's like 4 more people walk in that he's like, yo, we're over here, we're in this row, like
waving hey guys, like waving
gracious.
And of course the laugh track keeps going, and it's like Big Bang Theory,
and like I didn't even get to appreciate the opening scene.
Yeah
And it might have even ruined the film for me. I don't know.
I think it might have for me, at least that first time around. But I will say, I think the film brought me back because I remember I really enjoyed it at one point. But then I think it brought me back down again. So that's when I know it was issues with the film. But yeah, like, come on, guys. I don't know what to say, but like, girl, get up.
Just insane, incomprehensible,
I know.
flabbergasting.
And just how he handled the situation where, like, he doesn't just shimmy back through the row and then walk up the stair. He, like, I think he even went in between us. Like, he tried stepping over the rows, stepping on, like, our armrests.
Yeah, it was really,
it's like,
frustrating.
Dude, why would you do that? And plus, his hands are full, like you said.
Yeah, I was like, the icy's gonna spill. He's gonna just drop this nacho cheese everywhere.
It's gonna be like
brutal.
Sitcom.
Gosh, slapstick.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop there, because now, flash forward to last night, we have the clowns down the row.
Yeah.
The clowns down the row. Goodness gracious.
I saw some time ago, years ago maybe, I saw a TikTok that was some girl trying to defend herself, and she said, well, like, going to the movies, it's supposed to be like a community experience, so like we should be able to discuss and say our thoughts like in the theater while the movie's playing. Like, we should be able to speak our mind.
I think I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, I probably sent it to.
Gosh.
And that is the vibe that this group was giving, where like they thought everyone in that theater was there to hear their director's commentary of the movie.
I don't want to hear that. I don't.
And plus, when the commentary is giving us nothing.
When the commentary is quite literally 2 books?
2 books? When the commentary is, like, Ao in the movie, her character Ariel is reading a list. And on the list it says fashioning.
Quite literally.
And then
a character points to fashioning. Like,
points to the word on the list.
Very direct.
And the
5 seconds. 5 seconds after this. Like, so much, like, delay.
Yes, so much time has passed. And she says, fashioning.
I couldn't help but laugh.
It's ridiculous.
And it's funny because I was laughing at that and not the film.
Yeah. And they would like laugh at the drop of a hat. Like, it would be a character taking time to pause after like another character said something. And like, really, like, that's good acting, because you aren't just like reading the script in your mind. You're like letting lines sit for a little bit. And like, she laughed immediately when the pause started, because she was like, oh my gosh, this character is ignoring someone. When it was like, oh no, this actor is just taking time to like let the line linger.
Yeah, it's actually the actor making a choice.
Yeah.
And acting.
Like, I say this on the podcast all the time. Movies are up for interpretation. It can mean whatever you want it to mean to you. But there are wrong readings of movies. I'm sorry, but there is just a wrong reading of like a scene. Or like a tone. So
I knew, I mean, when they came in during the trailers and they sit down and the new A24, trailer goes up, it shows the logo, and they quite literally go, A24! I'm like, here we go. I think I even looked at you and I was just like, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right.
Which it's
what we got.
Cool to be excited for like an A24 movie. I get it, but like, it's giving like, ooh, another weird A24 movie.
And you can just tell, like, especially just with their behavior and their manners, theater-going manners, you could tell, like, yeah, it's gonna be like this during the film.
Yeah, and it's like, y'all don't get out much, do you?
And I don't mind. I mean, I might have even said this on the podcast. I don't mind light chatter during the like pre-show.
Yeah.
During the trailers, like, sure. Heck, I mean, going to AMC in my height when I would go to AMC a lot, like, I get on my phone during the trailer.
Yeah, because you see really, those a million times.
I really don't mind, but like, as soon as that studio thing pops up, like, everyone, zip your lips.
When we see Nicole Kidman,
watch the movie.
It's time to put that phone away. Yeah. Once the 10 million minutes of AMC advertisements are done.
Once the Coke ad and
The laser at AMC
the
ad,
laser at AMC ad
the
and
Nicole
the
Kidman,
Dolby at AMC ad and the IMAX at AMC ad and the 3D at AMC ad and then the Nicole Kidman ad and then the uh AMC A-list
the
ad.
IMAX 321, be part of the movie ad, the Investor Connect. Like, this is okay. This is the final.
The AMC credit card.
The AMC credit card. This is we'll wrap up the coffee thought with this. Why are these theaters throwing a circle jerk party for themselves? Like, give us a 1-2 and get into the movie. Like, give us like The Silence is Golden,
Perfect.
Nicole Kidman,
Mm-hmm.
the movie.
I could understand the A-list ad.
Yeah.
As an A-list member myself, it's redundant.
Yes. Yeah.
But I probably discovered A-list by going to the movies and seeing that ad.
Yeah.
So I could understand that one. But that's it.
Yeah.
That's all we need. That's really all we need.
This made me laugh this time, actually, where the laser at AMC, where it's like, photon lights in the universe spark and stars collide. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Who gives a fuck? I'm sorry, like, I'm glad laser is eco-friendly and it does this and this and that. But like, as someone who is actually like a loyal theater goer, I don't care. So I don't even know what the average theater goer, like the average American, what they think.
Yeah.
I it would be hard to imagine they would give a fuck either.
Yeah.
I'm like, and it's giving like these corporate suits at AMC are like, oh, we got to tell that girl, we do not care.
My parents can comprehend like IMAX.
Yeah.
I don't think they can Dolby cinema. I don't think they know what laser. Nobody cares.
Just play the movie.
They just want to go see Opus.
Yeah, I know. So
silly. So silly.
See Opus. Nobody wants to see Opus.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Except for our A24 fans down the row. I'm glad people are going to see the movies, though. They're going to the theater. They're enjoying A24 movies. It's good.
Yes.
It's good.
Yes.
But we can still do those things and be courteous theater goers.
Courteous. Love that word.
Yes. I bet you do as a teacher. We have so much. We're 45 minutes in. We have a lot to talk about still. So let's get right into it. Our now showing. This is our feature ideological analysis and critical film review segment by yours truly and guest. Now showing in this episode is Nope. Siblings OJ and Emerald Haywood, who recently inherited their struggling family business named Haywood's Hollywood Horses, discover that there may be an alien presence in the skies above their ranch. While the Haywoods try to capture photographic proof to save their business, a nearby theme park tries to use the spectacle of the alien to turn a profit. Nope is directed by Jordan Peele and stars Daniel Kaluuya as OJ, Keke Palmer as Emerald, and Steven Yeun as Jupe. It was released July 22nd, 2022. Reese, what do you think about this movie?
Yeah, it's pretty good. No. This film is very dear to me. Very near and dear to me. Very, very important. Did you know that?
I did know that. I did.
Yeah. I think it's important to preface, I used to be super terrified of aliens.
Yeah, that's like your subgenre. Yeah.
But now I love it. And in my first review, I did write, and I don't know if I still agree with this first part, but I wrote, while this wasn't as horrific as other movies out there, aside from the disturbing scene I am not looking forward to on the rewatch, I would like to believe that 6-year-old me, a boy terrified of extraterrestrials and needed his dad to wait outside with him before the trailers, would be impressed I was able to go to the theater and see it by myself. couldn't see trailers, couldn't uh watch ET
Mm.
or any type of alien extraterrestrial. Um those that stuff just scared me as a kid. Something about just like the little green men and what's up in space and all of that really disturbed me. And it was probably because my dad would tease me about it and he would take a picture of Darth Maul and shove it in my face. And
Mm.
that's why I didn't want to watch Star Wars till I was 6.
Darth Maul's scary.
But he is. He's like the
Yeah.
devil. He's a creepy.
When I went to Disney World and they had him like taking pictures with people, I was like, no, please, please, please. But sorry, continue.
um, I slowly got over my fear of aliens, but they still definitely intrigued me.
Mm.
And back in 2022, hearing about this film, I was like, I have to see this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to go see this film. Like, it's so intriguing. It's the final boss for me to like fully overcome my fear of aliens and fear of also going alone to the theater. This was my first ever film I saw alone in the theater.
Wow.
Which was super awesome. I remember going and I was at my local Regal and I sat in the very back because I wanted a solid wall behind me so nothing could grab me. And on a first watch, I was stumped.
Mm.
I was stumped with this film. This film definitely throws curveballs at you. But at the end of the day, it is a beautiful game. It is a beautiful film. It is a perfect film. I'll say this. It is a perfect film. I'll defend it till the day I die. If Nope has no fans, I'm dead. But man, oh man. Let's get in. Let's get into it. The podcast, the Nope podcast is finally here.
It's finally. This one was maybe since like you ever were a guest on the show, like since the very first time I was like, okay, like one day you'll come on and we'll talk about Nope.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be there for that. Like I'm not talking about Nope by myself. I can't. So this has been in the works. This is just one of those episodes that's like very special. My history with this movie, I saw it in theaters and blew me away. It blew me away. I remember though, I almost peed my pants. The floodgates, they were cracking. Water was seeping through.
Goodness, was this out of fear or out of
no? But like the fear was like kind of had a sledgehammer breaking down the floodgate. Like I got to the Gordy scene and I was like, okay, like this pee's coming out whether I want to or not. I was drinking a lot of water that day. Got up, ran to the bathroom, ran. But it was like it was a pee that I was holding in for so long that it must have taken like about 3 to 5 minutes to get it all out. Like, went back. It's an entirely different movie. They're like on the ranch trying to get a picture. And I missed like, don't look up at it. I missed that whole plot point. So I was like, wait, what? Which is very important to like the commentary of this film is you can't look at it. So I turned to the girl next to me who was also by herself watching this. And I was like, what did I miss? And she was like, you're not supposed to look at it. And I was like, what? So this movie, so I kind of missed the experience a little bit. And by the end, I was like, okay, like I don't know how to feel really. This second time around, I'm on the Reese train. I'm on the Reese train.
Was last night your second viewing?
It was only that was my second viewing of this movie ever. 5 stars, masterpiece, perfect film.
Oh, that is such a good thing to hear. Music to my ears.
I'm so down with everything you just said. This movie is incredibly special, incredibly moving and powerful and brilliant. Like this is a smart Jordan Peele is like one of the smartest filmmakers we have right now, if not the smartest.
It's so smart.
Like, and the thing with Jordan Peele is like his movies are incredibly smart and thoughtful and like very stinging social commentaries, and they get people's asses in the theater. These movies sell well.
They do.
He does both, which usually you have one or the other. He's doing both, and that is that's something to watch. So let's get into it. Where should we start with Nope? Where do we even start?
So Nick, I know we're not doing video on your show anymore.
Yeah.
But, and maybe we can post this. I'd love to photo shoot and post this. But I have brought my 4K Steelbook collector edition of Nope 2022.
Oh,
give it a little click the case.
Oh, I hope that picked it up.
Good. And I think this is a great way to guide our discussion. So on the very front cover, we have this interesting blue teal with a square box in the middle. And we know this to be the eye of Jean Jacket.
Yeah.
And you mentioned eyes and not looking and whatnot.
Yes.
So smart. There's just so much with what it has to say in terms of sight and spectacle. And that's the big thing, is the spectacle and whatnot. For me, the spectacle was Aliens growing up.
Right.
I think that's why I'm so attached to it. I can relate to a lot of the characters being really intrigued about UFOs or UAPs or whatnot, and I can UAP, yeah. I think that's what he says, right?
Yeah, UAP.
I mean, that's what I know what he says. I've seen this film multiple times. I can relate to Jupe a lot in his fascination and wanting to fly closer and closer to the sun. It's so beautiful. But I love the stylized opening.
Yes.
The opening credits are beautiful. From the Universal logo, not having its Universal theme, but just having the audio of Gordy's home playing, is so great. Then you get the flapping of Jean Jacket's eye, but we don't know what it is. It's really confusing. We don't quite know what this could be, but little do we know we are staring directly into the beast's eye from the very beginning of the film. And we eventually get swallowed by it.
But when we do, we get an image of the jockey.
The birth of cinema. We get whiplash back to the birth of cinema.
Just tells you how all-encompassing this movie is in regards to like media. And I say media in a very communication major way, where it's just mediums, mediation, because that's what media is. It's all mediation. It's just right away a thrilling, powerful opening.
Jean Jacket. I love Jean Jacket.
Yeah,
she's so cool.
Would you have her as a pet?
No, because I think that goes against the message of the film.
Good answer.
But just so astonishing. And again, I think the film is so smart in its revelations of what Jean Jacket is.
Right.
Going into it, we think, like the characters, it's some type of UFO. We think it is, and it moves like a UFO, right? I mean, we get glimpses of it soaring in the skyline.
Right.
And it isn't until that scene where the massacre happens at the Starlight, gosh darn it, not the Starlight Express. This is embarrassing.
Star Lasso?
The Star Lasso experience.
I'm not a bigger fan, but I did watch this last night. Like
you did.
Seconds before you got here.
Quite literally.
Like I turned off the TV, got up, and went to the train station to come get you. So like it's very fresh. Star Lasso.
No, that's good. That's good. And we see them get sucked in and you're just in awe. I remember sitting in that theater being recoiling into my seat out of the
Yeah.
cringe of watching these people be eaten.
I think this is a good starting place, is that. And I know that these discussions always, there's no really structure. We're just going with it. But like, this is a good starting point, is just that scene where we get to see like these people traveling through Jean Jacket. I don't know, Jean Jacket's like esophagus or intestines or whatever.
Essentially, yeah.
And you get to see like the remains of horses, and you get to see these
Mm.
people like deteriorating, and like
Mhm.
all these like random objects Jean Jacket was swallowing.
The
Uh,
horror, the sound design of rubbing,
like balloons.
balloon
Yeah.
rubbing, right? Like, because Jean Jack is essentially just a big balloon.
Yeah.
And that, like, suffocation sound effect of them just getting squeezed and squeezed
Yeah.
is so tense. Listeners, if you haven't seen the behind the scenes footage of this film, I encourage it so much. The way that Jordan Peele is creative in filming this film, specifically for the scene we just talked about. um just like the dolly setup he had, essentially they're on like a conveyor belt sideways, and it's just going towards what the camera is viewing as up. And
Mm,
they have like, they're intentionally like in this like man-made uh esophagus or whatever you have.
right.
um so smart, so well done. And um everything he's filmed, everything that takes place at night was filmed during the day, but was
Mm,
just masterfully done with color grading and whatnot.
yeah, which is impressive.
So impressive. The film is so beautiful.
It is.
It's so, the colors and the way it's shot is, I can't think of anything other than just beautiful.
Yeah, it's very, this movie is very visually
I
appealing.
love looking at this movie.
It's just like the shots are set up very well. I love like the different angles in all of the scenes, and
Mhm.
it's very strategically set as well. And I only kind of picked up on this when you mentioned something when we were watching the deleted scenes, where it
Mhm.
was like, oh, Gordy just looked right at us. And I was like,
Mhm.
I forget this sometimes. Or I think back to my film studies classes at school, and I'm like, oh, right, the camera is a character too.
Mhm.
Like this is our person. Like, and so we are
Mhm.
being looked at. We are also viewers. We're a part of the story.
Mhm.
Um, which obviously in a story about viewership and spectacle, it's
Mhm.
very important. But yeah, I guess going back to the jean jacket esophagus scene, it's one of those moments, just brings tears to my eyes.
It is
Um,
appalling.
Fear tears.
Fearful. It is
Yeah.
so scary. It was what I was referring to in my original review, that I was not looking forward to rewatching it. And I don't really have claustrophobia, but like I feel like no one really likes being in close quarters like that. Like that's,
Swallowed by a alien. Yeah.
goodness gracious. Um
Talking about the aliens a little bit, the movie
mhm.
does such a wonderful job subverting your expectations when it comes to the alien. Because going into this, we never know what the alien looks like. I don't even really think we know what the UFO looks like.
We don't. It
Yeah.
depends on how much promotional media you watched. I know myself going into it being so infatuated with the spectacle of what this movie might be. Watched a lot of trailers, watched a few trailer breakdowns, and you do see in the trailer, in Jupe's Star Lasso experience, a merchant table
Right.
selling viewer dolls.
Yes.
So we get a hint at what the movie wants us to think is the aliens.
Yeah.
And we get that design of
Right.
the viewers, which is a essentially a humanoid figure in fur, like
Yes.
black brown fur, but with a um, triangle-ish, upside down triangle-ish head, and just eyes essentially.
Huge, like a big kind of like skin I
Skin,
guess with just
skull, kind of. It's, I mean, it's a doll.
yeah, with like black beady eyes. So and we see like Jupe's kids
Right.
in the movie
In costume.
in costumes. And even then, you know, the movie is conditioning us to expect little men come out
Yeah.
of the spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Like,
expecting like a spectacle within the spectacle.
right. And I wonder, like, you know, the characters in the film probably have their interpretations of Alien through media as well. Like
Right. Mhm.
Close Encounters with the Third Kind, E.T. Like those probably all exist within the world of Nope.
Right. And talking about sort of like Jupe's version of the aliens a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think our discussion will heavily center around Jupe, just based on like what we were discussing when we got coffee this morning.
Mm-hmm.
But Jupe he named the aliens himself, or his version of them. He named them the viewers.
Mm-hmm.
They're called the viewers because they're always watching what's happening below. And they, much like what you described with the costume or the dolls, is they kind of look like chimpanzees.
They
Like they look
do.
like monkeys. Which is very interesting considering Jupe's history of being on Gordy's home and witnessing or having this traumatic episode of seeing Gordy the chimp slaughter everyone on set and then be slaughtered himself.
Yeah.
Witnessing that from under a table through a sheer tablecloth. So it's almost like his version of an alien is like a chimpanzee. I think it's because like Gordy acted in a way that he wasn't supposed to, and he sort of acted alien.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he associates aliens with like monkeys now.
Mm-hmm.
And then we noticed this during the scene with Gordy. There are 3 film cameras
They're
on
all
set,
there.
and they have these huge like Panavision film reels or
Mm-hmm.
something like on them.
Two cylinders.
Yes, 2 cylinders, 3 reels
Mm-hmm.
for the 3 cameras. And those reels are like the faces of the viewers just upside down.
It's quite 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Right. And so you can only infer that they have been imprinted on Jupe's brain, and this kind of trauma has been reanimated
Right.
into what he now sees as the viewers.
Right. Dang.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I guess talking about the Gordy scene a little bit more. This was kind of like a brain blast moment, but him watching all of this happen from beyond the tablecloth. So
Mm-hmm.
he is watching like a mediated version. He's watching all of this through like a filter, a film. Even if the film is just a tablecloth, it's mediated. So it's almost like how he views his trauma is like
Mm-hmm.
mediated. It's through a lens. It's through a
He,
film reel.
when talking to Emerald
Right.
and OJ, and he invites them into his lair or his museum of
Yeah.
Gordy's home.
Mhm.
He constantly refers to the tragedy through the lens of TV, through the lens of SNL, and
Yes.
the infamous SNL sketch of the Gordy's Home Massacre,
Mm-hmm.
which could be a coping mechanism for him for the trauma.
Certainly.
Probably, I mean,
Yeah, certainly.
understandably. But again, like he never truly saw the horror. He was, like his character, believed that he was best friends with this animal,
Mm-hmm.
with Gordy, that he, would fist bump Gordy and they were best friends, and he was like the one that could tame Gordy. He didn't die or get, he was left unscathed by
Right.
Gordy physically. And so he is ultimately the one that thinks like, oh, it really wasn't that bad.
Yeah, or he thinks like, oh, I was in control. Like I could tame him.
But he never was. I've heard
Yeah.
interpretations of that scene that I disagree with. that
From
he
some of our favorite podcasts that we won't
oh
name.
oh that he could tame, Gordy, but I don't think he could. I don't think he ever could.
Right. And especially when I think it's OJ says later on, like, you do not tame like a beast.
Mm-mm.
You make terms with it.
You do.
You are on like its terms. It's in control.
Right.
You know?
And going back to that scene, like, because of the tablecloth, because of the obstruction of eye contact,
Mm.
Gordy never attacked.
He was never really seeing Gordy, looking at Gordy.
Right. And Gordy was never really seeing him.
Mm.
And Gordy goes out for the fist bump, but it's really just one of the terms that him and Gordy have made. Right? Like, if you talk about like classical conditioning, they probably trained Gordy to, like, hey, put your hand out like this and you'll get a treat, right?
Right.
Like, probably quite literally what happened. And so Gordy sees this kid, a little obstructed, but sees, oh, Gordy knows, oh, I see this little boy. I put my hand out like this. He fist bumps it. I get a treat,
Right.
And that's all it is. That's really all it is. It's not that Jupe has this connection to him or is a tamer. That's what Jupe thinks it is.
Right.
But it is quite literally, he is a wild animal that has wild animal brain and just does things very literally.
Right. I think that Jupe is such a fascinating character because I think like a whole book could be written about like Jupe's life.
Yeah.
And just like how he's coped with his trauma sort of throughout his life. Because he obviously like he has fallen prey to the capitalist idea that like, okay, like you can make money off of this. Like, oh, you have a traumatic experience, write a book and like earn some money out of it.
And there's
like, share your story. And he's obviously like he's attached himself to versions of his trauma, not his trauma, versions of it, associations of his trauma. So you'd be like, hey, look at this Mad magazine. Like, Mad?
Yeah.
Hey, SNL? He doesn't actually have to confront anything. It's all through the lens of media, Mad being a magazine, SNL being a TV show. He's mediating his trauma so he can monetize it.
Right.
It's
and there's so much, and Stephen Yeun, right? Like, I mean, great actor. He plays the character so well. And there's so much more aspects to it that I personally don't feel comfortable speaking to. I mean, the whole angle of him being a Asian actor,
right,
and being stereotyped growing up, kind of like a stand-in for like Kie Kwan.
Yeah,
it's kind of in like a quasi Goonies adaptation. Again, as a white straight dude, like, I'm not really gonna touch that, but the film does have a lot to say there in terms of how Jupe operates and makes a living and what he does.
Yeah, I think that Jupe is a fascinating character. And he dies pretty like halfway through, but like his effects are felt like throughout the movie. I think he just feels like the cornerstone of like what this movie is trying to say almost. But then obviously let's transition to, do we have anything else to say about like the whole Gordy's home? And like, I feel like we could talk about it forever, We
could. I've seen so many takes that I don't agree with where how, everything with Gordy's home is just this random subplot.
Yeah.
You and I know that's not true. That's
right.
Wrong.
Yeah, it is a parallel.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a parallel.
It's a parallel plot.
Yes.
It's a foil.
It's needed.
A foil.
And it's scary as hell.
Oh my god. I mean,
Gordy is super scary.
Horrifying. Like I said, tears of fear.
Watching the deleted scenes, getting to see the actor motion cap Gordy.
Yeah.
With the stilts. I forget his name. I want to look it up because I want to give props to him. But he's done work in like Planet of the Apes and whatnot. So he's definitely experienced in that. Bravo to him.
Child actor in that scene. Bravo to him as well.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so shout out Terry Notary playing Gordy. Bravo. And then shout out Jacob Kim playing young Jupe.
Yeah, I mean, we we were watching the deleted scenes,
Hmm.
and I just said to Reese, I was like, that poor kid.
He made you feel.
Yeah, I was, and I wasn't talking about the actor, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, poor actor for having to go through like
Well,
this.
yeah.
But he's an actor. I'm sure
He'll be all right.
hopefully, yeah. But I was talking about the character because I felt for this fictional kid character for little
Yeah.
Jupe. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my god, this poor kid had to go through this.
Hmm.
Really made me feel. It really made me feel, and yeah, this second time watching, I cried.
Hmm.
It was just so. It's such a powerful and like shocking scene.
Hmm.
It's really outstanding. Uh, yeah, a lot to be said about like spectacle and viewership here and entertainment and like these people that have like monkeys for pets and
Hmm.
everything. I mean I've seen like TikToks and it's saying it's like these people like I'll show you in the day of my life of like having a pet chimpanzee, and I'm like I go to the comments and there's always one that's like, did you watch Nope? The way that they're recording it and making it into content, making it into a spectacle for people to consume, um, there's a lot to be said there.
I wonder how much. First of all, I wonder when Jordan Peele started writing this.
Mm.
But I just had this thought. This film is a post Tiger King film.
Oh,
Tiger King coming out 2 years before. Um,
yeah.
and so I wonder how much that inspired some of what's going on in this film, especially the Gordy's home elements.
I mean, I'm sure it lines up really well.
Right, right.
Yeah, and obviously this film is inspired by a real life attack from a chimpanzee.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the name of the woman who was attacked, but there's sort of like a fictionalized version of her in this film,
Oh.
which
It's very scary,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah,
I remember seeing the trailers and you see her face and you're like, oh, that's an alien or something.
mm.
But no, it's just a victim of a monkey or ape mauling.
And I feel it's
And
important to
oof.
note that she wears a veil, so now her
Oh.
whole world is mediated.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this is
So
too
many
much.
characters in this film hide their eyes.
Mm.
So, um, and the way that this film is shot so smartly, it's doing this on purpose. It has to. But let's go through it. We have OJ constantly wearing trucker hats, constantly wearing hats. And
Mm.
so many times in this film, it is shot so that the shadow is from the brim of the hat is just below eye level for him. We have Antlers, who is we've seen a lot of times wearing hoods, especially
Hmm.
when he's on the ranch. That covering his eyes. We see M, and this might be a stretch, but we see M in sunglasses a lot of the time. We see Jupe in his cowboy hat a lot of the time. Um, but the way that, oh my gosh, just the way that it's shot with Daniel Kaluuya's character constantly being shot so that the shadow with his eyes
So
is
his
so
eyes are
beautiful.
covered.
His eyes are covered, and eyes being such a huge part of this film.
Yeah.
We have the TMZ character.
Who, in a way, feels like he's made out of eyes because he
Yes,
has like the camera stick with like all the different cameras.
yes,
It's
he
like
has
kind of campy.
the triple. He's my favorite character. He's my
Yeah.
Letterboxd profile. He is just the epitome of what the film is trying to say. It's like
He is. He
you get
is.
to that kind of third act end point, and it's like Jordan Peele's like, okay, if you haven't got what I'm trying to say now, let me bring in the ultimate stereotype, the ultimate character who is going to hit you over the head with what the heck I'm trying to
Yeah.
say.
But it fits.
Um,
It fits.
but it works. It works so well. I mean, his biker helmet is all like chrome,
It's a mirror ball.
a
Like it
mirror ball,
reflects everything.
but he has just one eye
Mhm.
where it's tinted. So he's only looking out of one eye. And he has like a triple kind of camera gizmo with like two cameras and this like ring light kind of thing that
Yeah.
TMZ. and he's riding his electric motorbike. And it's just so perfectly smart. Um, when he goes to drive off down the road, like, Jean Jacket can turn off batteries and has like an EMP essentially. And so you're just like, oh boy, here he goes. The bike is gonna cut off, and he does. And it, like, I think it even has a Wilhelm scream, which is perfect.
Yeah.
And so like he just gets launched off the bike, breaks his legs, and there he is lying on his back with nothing else he can do but look up into the
Yeah.
sky. And you just know, like, even OJ knows, like, sorry, man. See you later.
And when he's on the ground like that, he is
First thing he
the
asks.
first thing and the only things he asks, he says, um, did you get that on camera? Wait, where's your phone? Are you filming this? No, take a picture first. Like, he's he's desperate, he's begging, he's pleading to just have that recorded.
Yeah.
And he's like, where's my camera? Like, it's his livelihood. And OJ, I feel it's important to note, just has a flip phone.
Yes.
And he's like, so the TMZ guy is like horrified by that. He's like, wait, where's your cell phone? Like,
Yes.
it is so well done. And I love when a character is introduced that is just like the manifestation of what the movie is trying to say.
Yes.
Because I think it lends itself to very like just really spectacular moments like that. Oh, spectacular. Spectacle. Huh.
But it's quite literally Jordan Peele just like taking your head and beating it into the script and being like,
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Here it is. There's quite literally no other way to interpret it. My favorite character. I believe he's billed quite literally as TMZ reporter. But
speaking of those things, we need to discuss the characters of OJ and Emerald.
What a great duo. What a great brother sister duo. Watching the gag reel together and just seeing the bond between just like Daniel Kaluuya and Kiki Palmer. Just so great. So great.
Yeah, like those two, their performances are so wonderful. They both just did like such an amazing job in this movie, and both of these characters are very interesting as well. Daniel Kaluuya, like, is very shy and he's very low key, and a lot of times during the movie, when he's being like threatened by like Jean Jacket right above him, like he'll say nope.
Yeah.
And he is almost kind of like the opposite of the TMZ reporter, where he's like refusing to buy into the spectacle. He's refusing to engage with this exploitation that's happening. And I think that Emerald is a very interesting character because she's sort of like, how would you describe her? Like in the middle?
I would say she's closer to the opposite of OJ, at least in the beginning. I mean, very much definitely in the beginning.
Yeah.
She wants the spectacle. She wants
the money shot.
She wants to get the money shot.
Yeah.
I believe it's her that is initially suggesting it.
Yes, she is.
And I think OJ's more so willing to do it in order to protect the horses. It's
Right.
ultimately about the horses, the ranch, and continuing that family legacy for him.
Right.
Where for Emerald, it's about getting the fame, getting the Oprah shot, getting that launch that she desires. So they're able to agree on that mission together. But OJ is just, he's like the horse whisperer. He knows. He's the one who's having the realizations of what Jean Jacket is, that it's an animal, that it can't be tamed, that you have to make a deal with it. I love that it's named Jean Jacket and it has that connection with the horses. I love that we have chapters.
Yes.
With the horses and what they represent.
What do you think that represents? Because our chapters are like Ghost, Gordy, Jean Jacket, and there's another horse in there. So we have like 4 animals in a way. What do you think they have in common?
So the four chapters are each title after an animal in the film. So we have Ghost, we have Clover, we have Gordy, we have Lucky,
Mm,
and we have Jean Jacket.
yeah.
Lucky, oh Lucky, Lucky survives the whole film.
Really?
Lucky is truly lucky.
I thought they all died. Wow.
No, so Lucky is the horse that OJ is riding in
Mm.
the final mission, and ultimately survives on in the end.
Did OJ
So
survive?
I I think he did. I
Yeah.
think he survived.
I think that's one of those things where it's like, that's up to you.
It's up to you.
I think he did because again, like he is the one who knows how to.
Yeah.
Like he was all about like you can't tame it, you make an agreement. So it makes sense that he survived. And just something to mention, I love that Jordan Peele usually has like I haven't seen Us, but from what I have seen, he usually has like a happy ending for his characters.
Uh, Us is up to interpretation.
Like I
With
said, I haven't
that.
seen that. I don't know the ending for that one.
But yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
At least in his other two films, yeah.
like they make it, which
Mhm.
I'm happy that he gives his characters that.
Yes.
Um,
And it's so the final is so satisfying. The
yes,
victory
yes,
that
and the final shot is the final shot,
yes,
which I love.
yes. Yeah, so our final we can work backwards. Jean Jacket
Yeah.
is referring to two animals.
Yes.
Jean Jacket being a former horse and Jean Jacket as in Jean Jacket up in the sky.
Right.
Our creature of the film. I'll be honest, I don't quite know why Jean Jacket was the name that's chosen. I don't know what Jordan Peele might have been insinuating. If anything at all, could have just been
Right.
Jean Jacket.
I do know, like I took note of this when Emerald was talking about her experience. Like her horse on the ranch was supposed to be Jean Jacket,
Mm-hmm.
but Jean Jacket was being used for a movie, and
Scorpion King.
the Scorpion King movie, and it was supposed to be this, uh, series of movies. So this was like very
Right.
important that the horse was trained well. So Emerald's dad and OJ trained the horse,
Right.
and Emerald was saying that basically she felt invalidated by her dad because she was standing up in the window watching the arena,
Mm-hmm.
watching them train her horse, Jean Jacket,
Mm-hmm.
and she said that her dad, quote, didn't look up at her, unquote, while training the horse. So
Mm-hmm.
Emerald was not being seen. She was not given like her time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so like I think that Jean Jacket sort of ties this theme of seeing and viewership to validation. And like what are you validating versus invalidating by giving something your attention,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
OJ does look at her. He looks back up into the window and gives that famous like "I see you."
Yes.
Um, During that flashback, it can be kind of interpreted as like a tease or whatnot, but he
Right.
later does it to her in the final moments. Ah, it's just beautiful. Their
Yeah.
bond is just so awesome.
Yeah.
And the actors play it so well.
They
play it
do.
so well.
They do. And Daniel Kaluuya, I think I said this already, but it's worth mentioning again. Daniel Kaluuya and Kiki Palmer are just brilliant performers. Stephen Yoon just also was a standout in this movie. So good. And something I learned like in communication, one of the first things you learn is like uh by viewing someone, by being an audience member to something, you are giving it a platform and you are giving it power.
Mm-hmm.
Thus, you are giving it power. So I think that that's something that this movie did, sort of communicated really well, is like by being an audience member to something, by engaging with this entertainment, what exactly are you giving a platform to? What exactly are you exploiting? So when this came out, I was a junior in college, and it kind of like shook the communication world a little bit. I remember this came up in like a PowerPoint slide. They were like, "Nope," and viewership and exploitation in media.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really cool to sort of like have this movie come out in tandem with learning these different things.
Yeah.
So,
Brandon Piero. We haven't talked about him a lot. Angel.
dear Lord, when I get to heaven.
Fun fact, he originally auditioned for Jupe.
Oh.
He did.
Huh.
And in the early pre-production of the film, the character of Angel Torres did not exist.
Oh, wow.
But Jordan Peele loved Brandon Piero's performance and he wrote him into the film.
Yeah.
And there's a super cool video of the two of them on Zoom with
Mhm.
the casting director, and Jordan Peele sharing the bad news first. He went bad news and good news. Bad news is we are not casting you as Jupe. Good news is we're casting you as a brand new character that we wrote
That's
for this
so
film, and
cool.
got third billing. And like, oh yeah, I'm like rooting for that guy. He's so much fun in the film. He's so funny.
Yeah.
And such a great addition. I mean, the top, like those five characters, uh, OJ, Emerald, Angel, Antlers, and Ricky, Jupe, like, um, such a great like core five to
Yeah.
the film.
Mhm.
And of course, there's other smaller characters that also are great. I mean, Keith David is so awesome as
Yeah.
the
I
father.
mean,
Oh,
it's
oh my gosh.
it's great.
Yeah. But Angel Torres is super, super fun. Super fun addition.
Which I feel like we need to mention how good of a comedy this movie is.
Yes. It's
Like, this is
funny.
a really funny movie.
Yes.
Eh, yeah, I mean, you have Kiki Palmer, who's like,
Who's like quite literally just riffing.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
if you watch the like deleted scenes or really the gag reel, you come to realize that like she's improvising a lot of these lines, and Daniel Kaluuya just has to like kind of work with it in character, but it's also super impressive for him. Um, and it's just probably was just so much fun for her to
yeah.
like really bring herself into the character. Um, and you know, I do try to separate actors from characters and whatnot, but like she kind of is Emerald in all the best ways,
In very much like
and
the
Emerald is her.
energy,
Yeah.
like the humor, I guess.
It
Yeah,
it fits so well. I
it
mean, up
does.
until the final scene of her celebrating that she finally got Jean Jacket.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. I
Uh,
always just want to like pump my fist into the air,
It's like
just like
Super
her.
Bowl, like I still.
Yeah. Yes. Oh.
I mean, Kiki Palmer, you will always be famous.
Mm-hmm.
You will always be famous. I mean, everyone in this movie will always be famous
Yeah.
because they were in this movie. But Kiki Palmer, like the talent, the brilliance, the beauty of Kiki Palmer. Oh my God. Yeah, and she's a final girl.
She
She's a
is.
good final girl.
She is.
Like, wow.
This is a final girl film
Yeah.
for her. Again, OJ does survive.
Yes,
That is
yes.
the correct interpretation. But I mean, the two. I mean, well, hey, I mean, Angel survives as well. So don't forget that.
Yeah.
The three of them do.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, what a fun film this is.
Yeah. And this could be, I mean, like, I keep talking about like my college classes. There could be a whole college class about this movie. Like, there's so much to talk about here.
Every time I revisit this film, I feel like I see something new, and it goes to Jordan Peele being just such a brilliant screenplay writer.
mm,
Um, but something that I'm still very curious about is in one of my rewatches, I realized um, that a critique people have is false, and that I've seen a critique say, "Well, how would Emerald know how to just with ease ride a motorcycle in the final events?"
because she says she knows in the beginning.
She does. She says in her big spiel to the commercial people, says she knows. But I will say, when we were watching the gag reel, we watched her do that
Yeah.
times with just different line reads and well, really
Improv.
lines,
Yeah.
improvising that spiel. So I'm curious to know, like, did she kind of see the final script and throw that in herself? Was it a kind of nudge by Jordan Peele to be like, you should include this? I'm super curious to know the answer there.
I'm curious to like read this script.
I'll send it to you. I have it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
I have a PDF of it.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm talking to the Nope expert. I mean, if you want the Barbie or Ladybird script, I have those for you
Oh,
too.
perfect. Perfect. Yeah. It's a good read. Yeah. We haven't talked about Antlers yet.
The director, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
the
okay.
character director, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the cinematographer, I should say.
If I this might be where we part ways on agreement.
Okay, okay.
The first time I rated this, I rated it 4 stars.
Same.
This time was 5.
Same.
If there were anything keeping this movie from being 5 stars, I would say it would be the inclusion of this character. Um, but then again, like this time around, I thought it was a perfect movie, and I wouldn't change it at all.
Well, what do you think doesn't quite work?
I don't know. I just, I don't, I'm not. It's not that it doesn't work. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't know if it's necessary.
Hmm. He definitely has more like he's included in the plot for um his tools, his abilities
Right,
essentially,
right.
right?
And I feel like he kind of ties in like the Hollywood angle a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like when he's like, "Oh, the perfect shot," and he's like,
Yeah,
it's very camp, which I love.
it is.
And he gets sucked away. I'm like,
And it's a
okay,
little redundant of um our TMZ guy.
right.
But no, I mean, I would argue his inclusion is necessary
Mm.
for the reason of him essentially dying for the craft and
Yeah,
quite literally being consumed by the spectacle.
and I guess he is like a parallel to the TMZ guy, where they're both
Mm-hmm.
like dedicated to the spectacle, but
Mm-hmm.
on one end of the spectrum, it's exploitation, which
Right.
is TMZ guy, and on the other end of the dedication, it's like the craft.
Right.
It's like he wants to capture it purely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I guess they're parallels for each other. Um, so yeah, I agree. But I think like his character, I'm the most kind of like, okay, about.
I will admit I think maybe, and this is going to sound very sacrilegious coming from me, but if this film were to be tweaked, um, his character I think should have been at the focus of tweaking just a tad more.
Yeah,
But we get, I mean, he's in the film throughout. He's the cinematographer for the commercial.
yeah, yeah,
So we meet him there. That's how OJ and M meet him. We see him working on those wildlife films. Um, but yeah, he is just a hint underbaked, I will admit.
yeah. There we go. That one critique. Barely that. We both rate this film 5 stars. So like,
Hey, I think films can still be perfect and have some flaws.
yeah. I mean, they. Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous to think like a film has to exactly
Mm-hmm.
cater to everything you would want it to be.
Sure.
Because I already have Lady Bird that does that. So. Okay. Wow. That was a good discussion. Last point. OJ. OJ Simpson. The sensationalization of a murder case.
there so if we look at names, right? OJ, we have Emerald
Hmm.
being a jewel. We have quite literally Angel.
Angel.
Um Antlers, I don't quite know how we'd say
Yeah.
that. But so much with names
Yeah.
and name play here.
I think to make a long story short, Jordan Peele is just brilliant.
Mhm.
I I don't know how he did this. Like I don't know how anyone could do this. Like it is just like a brilliant movie.
It's brilliant. It's
Yeah.
perfect. I am so excited to rewatch it. Probably will rewatch it on my train ride home.
Oh. Okay.
And it is a perfect film. Perfect, perfect, perfect film.
What do you rate this movie?
Um, well, on Letterboxd, it is a 5 out of 5, but
Okay.
um, I give it a must see. I give it a um,
The Reese lease. The Reese piece.
I give it just a perfection.
Perfection
Platinum
score.
medal, like whatever you want to say. It is
4 skibbities out of 4.
goodness gracious. 3 thumbs up out of 3 thumbs up. There you
Yes.
go. Just the highest ratings all around.
And I am going to give Nope by Jordan Peele the Nick pick.
Phew. Okay, good.
Brilliant, critical, and timeless are the words that come to mind when describing Jordan Peele's Nope. The film balances intense horror, clever comedy, and a striking social commentary on media in a seamless, masterful way. And that's all I have to say. Yeah, any predictions for Jordan Peele's 2026 film, Reese?
Ooh, great
What do you want to
question.
see? What's the wish list?
I um have no expectations.
Yes.
I want to just see him do his thing.
Yeah.
Um we know nothing about it other than that he's making it.
Mhm.
I'm so excited for them to drop the first poster or at least the title, because when they did that for Nope, there was just so much
Yeah.
speculation. He on Twitter dropped 10/23/2026,
Mm.
which is the confirmed theatrical release date in the United States for the film, and someone said, "What if that's the title?"
Oh.
And it's like, who knows? It could be
Yeah.
really anything, but I'm
Yeah.
so excited. I'm so excited for him. And to see what he does next. I'm curious if Daniel Kaluuya will come back. He's kind of like his muse at this point.
Yeah.
I am so excited. It'll probably have some connection to um black cinema and black characters and plotline.
I mean, as every one of his films is,
Right.
you know.
And so, and
that's something we didn't touch on with Nope, really, but
we
like,
did.
yeah,
We did not. Excuse me.
yeah, yeah. But all of these things have ties to like critical race theory,
Mhm.
and like just that's why I said like I'm so glad like a lot. Again, I haven't seen Us, but like a lot of his characters do have happy endings because like often in horror movies it is like
Right.
the black and queer characters that get killed off 1st.
Mhm.
So it's lovely to see that these characters can live throughout these films and have a somewhat happy ending, even if it is like slightly nuanced with sadness. But like they survive.
Yeah.
So that's a very important element, and one I think like if there's one thing to count on for like his next project, it is that.
Yeah, so I'm so excited to see the cast list and any crumb he will spare me until over a year from now. Goodness gracious.
I know.
That's okay.
Reese, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It is always a blast.
Yes, it is.
Across the table from you with the mic in the middle.
Yes, it's always a pleasure. You always have amazing insights, and I don't know what I would do on a Nope episode if you were not there with me. So, and thank you for being the executive producer of Coffee Nick's Movie Picks. It's greatly appreciated. If you have any ideas for the next episode, let me know. But thank you again for coming on. And to everyone else listening, thanks again for listening to Coffee Nick's Movie Picks. Before you go, please be sure to follow the show at Coffee Nick's Movie Picks on Instagram and at Coffee Nick on Blue Sky. There you can stay up to date on everything about the show. Also, if you'd like to submit a Dear Coffee Nick letter for the next episode, you can write that to coffeenicksmoviepicks@gmail.com or DM me on social media. If you like what you heard, please rate the show on your podcast app of choice and share the show with your friends. Until next time, the A24 movie. Thanks again for listening to Coffee Nick's Movie Picks. Our opening theme is The Moondrops, and our closing theme is March of the Hares, both songs by Nathan Moore. Before you go, please be sure to follow the show on social media at Coffee Nick's Movie Picks on Instagram and at Coffee Nick on Blue Sky, and give the show the Nick Pick by rating it 5 stars on your podcast app of choice. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.